Hello, everyone. Welcome back to On the Couch with David and Travis.
We're sticking with that for now, until we think of something.
No, that's
better.
what we're going to call it. It's On the Couch with David and Travis. And today we are discussing Season 1, Episode 6, Avatar The Last Airbender, Imprisoned.
Yeah, okay, that was a mouthful. What did you think?
I liked it. This was the first episode I saw of Avatar, ever. Because I was, over at my friend's house, and they were downstairs watching it, and I walked down, and I remember exactly the part. It was the part where she was pretending to earthbend, and then they're like, that lemur's an earthbender.
Yeah, there was
Which is definitely the funniust part of the series so far.
There were some good comedic moments. Also, George Takei was just really hammy and funny in this one. As a good guest star.
But, I just remember this, and this is, more of Avatar as I want it to be, because I felt like there was more character development in, Katara, and there was, as compared to the last episode, this one is itself a little more, condensed, and, but it could stand by itself, and, the rest of the series could go on without it, but I feel like it also is somewhat more important for Katara as a character to develop, and also, it brings us back to the Fire Nation, and, it shows that the Fire Nation isn't only just, bad to the Avatar, but it's also bad to everyone, which I feel helps the series more as a whole than, the last two did.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. I think it's one of, I don't know why, it's not, my favorite, and it's not the funniest, it's not the most interesting, it's not the most emotional, but it's an extremely memorable episode. You'll watch the whole series and some will kind of blend together, but you'll be like, oh, remember the one with the earthbenders on the ship? Because I think it just poses some interesting ideas, obviously they have the coal eventually, but just putting these people in an area where they're completely helpless. And it also has some interesting metaphors, sort of oppression, prisoners of war, and the whole, Haru earthbending thing. I'm not exactly sure what that's trying to go for, but I kind of got, this may sound strange, but I got sort of, hiding homosexuality, hiding... or maybe even Judaism or things like that from how
I could definitely see it.
I don't think that's what they're going for, but that's just what I got.
It has, I think, very deliberate echoes of it. Because if you think of a nation coming in, in Western English society, if you think of a nation coming in, taking people and forcing them into labor camps, the first thing you think of is Nazis.
And you also think of, I'm also thinking having to hide it.
Yeah.
And don't earthbend.
It just in the social conscious and our knowledge of history, that is the first thing people will think of. Because that is such a big part of history and what people learn. So I feel you can't really make an episode like this without warranting that comparison.
But I don't know if that's what they were. I'm not as good with history, but I'm sure there's something specific they were going for with that.
Yeah. I don't think they're you know what, let's make an episode about Nazis.
No.
That's definitely not what they were thinking. It was not like that, but there's definitely, they had to draw on that knowledge of something like that occurring.
And they didn't go as deep as they could. They didn't go as deep as they're going to go in further episodes. But still, and as the very beginning, you're seeing them bring up these ideas and present them in a way that pretty much any audience can sort of at least understand there's something bigger going on here.
And what I kind of like about this episode, too, and I think this is another reason why it's important, is it shows that the Avatar himself isn't the key to solving the world. It's more of the Avatar as the symbol that is the key. In a way, Katara really is the one that does the heavy lifting in this episode. The Avatar really has nothing to do with it, but then, when the Avatar helps her get, the coal on the ship, and, people start taking action themselves because they understand what's going on, with the Avatar and Katara and them fighting back, then they're more likely to fight back. It shows that the Avatar is not the only person that's important.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's sort of important to understand the Avatar isn't, the end-all, be-all.
Yeah.
He isn't necessarily the savior. He's more a symbol or an idea or a tool that inspires other people.
Yeah.
And it's the other people that sort of make these changes.
Yeah.
Obviously, he has to, defeat the Fire Lord, but that doesn't save everything. That doesn't fix the world. It's sort of that idea and symbol that allies people together.
And it also shows, if you were thinking, well, just because one guy's gone, why can't anybody else fight back? And that also shows how, groups of... I think we think all the time, it's well, why didn't they just fight back? Or, why didn't this group of people just, try to not get captured or something? But, it goes through the various steps of, first they do it, like it's really simple how they do it, but it's like economic, like they take over the town economically, and then they start taking away people.
It's fast, they're throwing it right at you, but they're giving you everything.
And like, it goes through the steps of how people take over societies in a very sleek fashion. And I think it's memorable because it's true.
It also sort of gives the different, it also sort of gives the perspectives. Like, you have the people in the town who aren't captured, but are being extorted monetarily, and also, you can't earthbend. And you also have the people on the ship who are the literal prisoners. You also have, like, sort of Sokka sort of presenting quickly the idea of a third party. We need to help ourselves for the greater good. And the Katara is saying, no, we can do both.
Yeah.
So you've seen a little bit of every... And it's not saying either one is necessarily right or wrong, but there's a time and place for helping people, and this was one of the ones.
And I like how it shows that it takes a lot to get there, because she could have just been like, everybody, let's fight back, and everyone would have been
they
like,
had that moment, she did a little speech, and then nothing happened, and it just sort of instilled how hopeless it really was.
I at first thought, it's like, why did they have that beginning with the village? Like, I was thinking about that as we were watching it, but then I realized, like, it is very important for them to have that, because then we know what they're going back to.
Yeah, that's great.
And, like, trying to help in, like, their actual everyday lives. I don't know, I just feel like it's a very well-constructed episode in terms of character and message and, like, research. It's just, like, everything just works really well.
It's the first, like, non-opening episode that's really, like, a strong...
Yeah.
There's a burp a little. A really strong, this is what the show is about, this is the lens we're looking at the world through this show with.
And I think it's really, like I said, I think it's important that they didn't have the Avatar be at the center.
Yeah.
Like, this is really the first episode where the Avatar wasn't on screen for, like,
He helped, and he helped, but it wasn't, like, the driving force. Like
exactly. Like, Katara was the main character.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that sums up Imprisoned. I think it's a good episode. I enjoyed it. I think the show's at a pretty good place right now.
Yeah, that's good.
It looks like we're going into a multi-parter. The Spirit World Winter Solstice Part 1. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And I hope it just keeps getting better.